Hey you guys, it's Catherine. So today's video I wanted to talk about the difference between cheap versus frugal. And I know a lot of other frugality bloggers out there on YouTube have done that. I just want to give my 2 cents on it because I really do think there is a big difference. However, I feel like a lot of people who aren't into the frugality scene take people who are frugal and automatically just categorize them as cheap. And personally, I do not think I am cheap. I used to love to spend money on food, but as I got to college and I had to start paying, my own way through school, I do have some help from my parents, but being in charge of medical bills that insurance doesn't cover, food, any extra emergency expenses, being accountable just to that, it is really important to be frugal in order to just to live a good life without having to stress all the time about money. But anyway, for me, frugality is intentional living. So it's living with a purpose. So I do love to save money because to me, any money that I can save is going to be directly applied to my loans or directly applied to my mutual fund because I really want to be a millionaire. So I want to invest that money. And that's just one of the multiple possible investment accounts that I can have. Right now I'm just starting off with one. But anyway, so like I was saying, with intentional living, I just want to live a simplistic life. I do not I'm not really very girly. I don't really like flashy things. I just like small homes with a good amount of space, just the only food that I need, and I don't really like lavish things. I prefer the outdoors, so I really have just like a homebody, small lifestyle. And I feel like frugality also helps with that because I'm really trying to save money. And also, I don't really need much for me to be happy. I just need a good book. I need some fruit and some pizza and my hammock, and I'm all set. So I think living with a purpose is the definition of frugality. Whatever your purpose may be, whatever works for you, that's for you. But for me, I am just intentionally living to reduce my carbon footprint, just because, I'm a scientist and I've been hearing more about the impacts that humans can have out in the environment. And I really want to minimize my impact, which is kind of difficult because I'm a Hispanic who loves to eat meat. So, still working my way through that. But also, I just want to be able to be in financial independence later on in life. And I know Dave Ramsey had this quote that I heard from another YouTuber, Lydia Sen. I don't know if you guys have watched her, but I love her. Her videos are awesome. And he said, live like no one else today, so tomorrow you can live like no one else, which is what I'm doing. So I know a lot of people my age, they're trying to go out and drinking and, going to parties or maybe going to Orlando and hitting up the clubs. And while that can be fun, it's just not in my budget because I want to be able to do fun things later on in life, like traveling the world, living in another country, buying my own paddle boards, stuff like that. And in order to get to where I want to be, I have to live intentionally with the purpose of achieving my dream for the future. So to me, that is frugality. I don't spend much money. I think the most money I spend is on food, and even then it's about $30, $35 a week just for me, and double that for Tyler and I. I think cheap, on the other hand, is someone who's just always looking out to get the best deal, and that even to the point where they're hurting themselves in terms of the quality of the product. So for me, I do love looking for deals, especially when it comes to food, because food is very expensive. So I'll always look up manufacturer coupons. I'll look up the BOGOs, like what's on sale for the week in the weekly ads for whatever grocery store I'm going to go to. Ooh, sorry. My computer's on my legs and they keep slipping down the bed. I'll also go to farmers markets to supplement my produce and just get it there for a cheaper price than going to a grocery store, depending on how their prices are. So yeah, I will look for the best deals that I can that work for my budget, but I'm not going to do it at the expense of the quality. So I know some people are always just looking for the best deal, and they'll get maybe a $15, $20 hiking backpack. And that does not work for me because I want to be able to take my hiking backpack, for example, everywhere, around the world and on tons of different adventures. So when I went on Amazon, even though I'm very frugal with the money that I have in terms of eating, when it comes to quality products that I can take outside, because, I am studying to be a marine biologist, we have a lot of field work. This internship, when I was not in the computer lab doing data analysis, we were out offshore, we were out in the Sebastian Inlet, we were like doing long lines, like vertical long lines, horizontal long lines, drum lines. So all of these things that required hard work, and I had to keep all of my gear in it. So I needed a backpack that was good for like strenuous activity. And so I got a good hiking backpack in the $50 range. And while it was a little much for me, and I know you can still get, I'm still going to get a better backpack later on, but for now that was a little higher than I wanted to spend, but I knew I needed to spend that money. And that backpack's lasted me about a year and a half so far. I got it a year and a half ago as a present before school started. And it's been going really well. I've taken it on boats. I've dropped it in water and it's perfectly fine. While someone who on the cheaper side would be like, oh, I don't need to spend that much on a backpack. That's way too much. And then they spend something where the seams will rip the next day, or maybe it can't take like 10 pounds of gear, or the way that your items in your backpack are distributed, and then it can break, and that's just not cool. And I also feel like cheap people also have a different type of mentality, where I don't really know how to explain it. Like, I definitely do worry about money a little bit. I get anxious if, I'm trying to figure out like, oh, what am I gonna, I'm just gonna sit up. I get anxious trying to think, this work. Yeah, that's good. So I get anxious trying to figure out, oh man, like where's all this money gonna come from? Even though I know that I'll still get the same paycheck, but just, waiting, hoping like no emergencies happen and I can still stick to it gets me kind of anxious. Well, I feel like with people that are more cheap, they are more, I think they covet money in the sense that, they always want more and more and more, and they're never satisfied. I guess that's it. Like, I live a frugal lifestyle, but I am content with where I'm at. You can ask any of my friends and people are like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? Mostly it's just like, I don't want anything lavish, maybe some new workout clothes if I need it. But the past few years, I've just been asking for just money so I can pay back my loans. Like, I don't really need anything. I'm not really interested in anything. I have my hammock, I have my longboard, I have food, so I'm all set. But I feel like with people that are cheap, it's that they can never have enough, and they need to spend the least amount in order to retain the most amount of money so that can make them feel good. But I'm not really about that. I know that there's some months that I will be struggling. Hopefully that does not happen. I've been very good with what I have. But I just feel like there is a really big difference just in terms of the mentality and how much you're willing to sacrifice in order to get the best product. Like, another example, before I got this internship, I didn't actually know I was going to get it because I didn't get an internship the year before. And usually that's because, you're sophomores and you don't have that much experience. But before I got this internship, I applied to it and it was a paid internship. So I was like, oh man, there's no way I'm going to get this if I didn't get the internship last year. So I signed up for the study abroad to go to the Galapagos, which I was super excited about because I studied abroad in Cuba working on leptocephali, so bonefish and tarpon larvae, and doing like population densities. And so I wanted to prepare for the Galapagos. So I bought these hiking boots, and they're about $140, $150, very good quality, would last me about 4 years, like actually hiking out in whatever place I want to go to, but also they would be good field shoes in the Florida environment once the like rubber has like kind of worn out. And that was a lot of money, except it was a good investment. So I feel like frugal people, number one, they have like more of a positive mindset. They have their goals clearly laid out and they know what they want to achieve. Number two, they even though they want to save money, they want to look for the quality of the product at the best price that works for them. So that can be different depending on what your situation is. And they, it's just about quality over the amount you're going to save. And they're not going to compromise themselves in terms of what they expect out of others or what they expect out of just like the companies that they're getting from. They're really going to try get the best deal, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and things will work out the way they should. So I hope this video helps. I'd love to learn your guys' definitions about what makes a frugal person, and what makes a cheap person, a cheap person. This is just my definition. I am no expert. It's just what I think. I've come to define it by myself over my experience over the past years. But I would love to know what you guys think. Comment down below what you all think, or send me a message, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.